we joined SaaStock a little while ago and are part of their founder circles. It's been absolutely brilliant for us. We first came into it to further our community, our reach, our network, and to learn from some of the world-class speakers that SaaStock has come and speak. And I have to say, it has been absolutely superb for us.
Welcome to the SaaS Revolution Show. Petter Erik Nyvoll, co-founder and CEO of AweSM Sales and Marketing. Welcome, Petter Erik.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, great to have you on the podcast. Looking forward to the conversation. Before we get into that, I've got a comment on this. For those anyway that are watching the video, the marvelous background that you've got there. Can you explain a little bit about what's going on and why it's so much better than mine?
Yeah, so we are, I'm a gadget freak. So for a couple of years ago, I figured out okay, let's build a studio. So I bought a lot of cool equipments, not because we need it, but it was it's cool to have. So, and then we had bookshelves behind us, and we are doing webinars and we're doing live shows and we're doing all these things. And I'm also invited to a lot of podcasts. So we had this bookshelf, and someone complained that it was too much behind us. So I'm living in Vietnam, and there's so many great artists there. So we figured out we got an artist to take our colors from the logo and make a background. So yeah, and it looks good, or I like it. So, and like you said, people are liking it. So, but it's it's a real background. I think that's the most. So because so many have green screens background now, but it's a real one. So
yeah, no, I know. I still get it a lot. People come with the Golden Gate Bridge, as their kind of background, but it's all still a little bit kind of like fuzzy and blurry, kind of around the ears. So it's nice to see a good solid background. And as we're chatting about backgrounds, and it's not a podcast about backgrounds, but I do agree. Whilst I've got a few books kind of behind me, and I could probably have a better background myself, I've had a few conversations where people just have this whole kind of library of books, and it can be almost a little bit distracting sometimes, because certainly for me, I'm looking at what are the titles of the books, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. But here, what we're seeing, this kind of sort of art that you've got, you can see it, but you don't necessarily have to kind of have the distraction that you might have necessarily with the books, right? So you just more appreciate that it's there. So you're a Norwegian SaaS founder, but you're in Vietnam. The studio is in Vietnam, where I'm speaking to you now. We'll get to that in a second, but let's talk a little bit about you first. Who are you as a person? So who is Petter Erik Nyvoll?
What can I say? I'm a dreamer. Always dream. I've been a entrepreneur with up and downs since I was 21, and I turned 44 for some weeks ago. So I've been an entrepreneur for 23 years with up and downs, some successes, some disasters, some bankruptcies. But I think the main thing is I like to just I like to just do what I think is the right thing for me and my family, and also in life. So for 4 years ago, we moved down to, or 4.5. We moved down to Vietnam just to try it out. It was directly from Norway. So I'm born and lived in Norway all my life, and just try something totally different. So here I am with my girlfriend, who are also the co-founder of the company. So we founded this together. When we moved to Vietnam, it was just us two in the company. And today I think we are 21 now. I have lost the count. So we have grown over COVID and done this thing. But yeah, so I like to be an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship. I love to build companies. I love to learn. I love to challenge. It's and I think the biggest, or one of the biggest challenges you can have in life is to build companies and build, because there is what works for 3 months ago doesn't work today. There is always new thing. You need to, at least you need to challenge your mindset. Or for me, always need to review my mindset about how to do things to get to the next level. So yeah.
How many? You've been an entrepreneur for a long time. How many businesses have you built? What number is AweSM Sales and Marketing?
So this is the 5th business I'm building. Yeah. So and the most successful one, as I said. Okay. I had this, I had this problem, and this is part of what I learned. But I had this problem to getting up to around 1 million euro in the revenue in our business. And from there, it's just stopped up. I couldn't get them to the next level. I couldn't find out what to do. And I figured it out, or I figured it out before I did something with it, because I think it was my ego was in the way of it. Because I'm not a manager. I can't manage people. That's the truth. I'm great in sales. I'm great in marketing. I'm great in startup. I have this visionary mindset. But just like,
Yep.
so what happened is, like, when you reach like $1 million or 1 million euro, or you start to get a staff, and I need to start to manage a lot of things. And before, I could manage it with 4 or 5 people and still get around. But when you get so many, it's like, and everything just, yeah. So that's one of my biggest learning over the thing. Do what or everyone talks about it, but do what you're good at, and don't try to pick up on things where, I don't say natural talent, but
Yeah.
I talk about unique ability. Like, what are you really unique at, and do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, there's a great book, you may have read it, called Traction by Gino Wickman, and it's all about, putting this kind of operating system within the business. But then they've also kind of written this book, I think it's called Rocket Fuel, about the visionary integrator kind of role. And often the CEO, co-founder, it typically is the visionary, and sometimes they don't sort of realize that. And by moving them into the things that, like, you're doing and what you're kind of good at, and in the kind of the visionary position, it often, unblocks a bit of the company, and allows the company to grow faster. So definitely, if people listening haven't read that, it's both Traction and Rocket Fuel are great books. And out of so you've got this track record then of getting businesses to, 7 figures there or thereabouts, and then until now, really kind of not scaling beyond that. What have you done with those other businesses, though? Did you shutter them? Did you sell them? What happened there?
Sometimes the business I was running, I think I ran it for like 5-6 years. It was a computer company. So with that one, I just let it go. I was so tired of going into my own business. Like, I hated my own company. I didn't like it
Right.
anymore. It was like, so it was, everything was, I didn't. It's like, back to you say, yeah, I also love Traction, and we are used it for 2.5 years now, the EOS system, to build our business. So we had a facilitator, so I am really familiar with it, and I love the system. So yeah, it just come to a place where I just was, yeah. And the second time, or another time, will happen in 2015. I went bankrupt. It was growing too fast. We was like over this 1 million euro, but again, I lost control. So I didn't have this, yeah. And I started to do, I figure out after I closed down the business that I have 5 salespeople, or 4, working for me. And I tried to train them. But the reality was, like, I sold for more than them alone when I didn't have them than they 4 together. And I tried to be the manager for them and teach them sales. And I was like managing everyone, but nothing worked, because it's not my natural talent. It's like, back to, yeah, what you talked about, the visionary and integrator. I am the visionary, and that's my role. And I can do that, but I can't implementing and get, and I think it's not only the visionary thing, but I think, well, like, being an entrepreneur, we are normally people. We like people, and we don't want to get in this conflict with the employees, and we just want to be nice. And, like, I am also a salesman. I love to be nice to people. It's not my natural thing to be hard and tough and kick people out and all these things. This is not my. And another thing, I also love people when I'm interviewing them. So if I want to employ someone, I just like, oh, this is a great person. I always look for the good things in people. I don't look at the. So I think that's also part of it that I have learned over time. I don't know if I really answered the question, but
No, definitely. It did. And let's talk about, I mean, before we get into the meat of the podcast, but in terms of the decision to become a digital nomad, or like moving to Vietnam, why did you decide to move to Vietnam from Norway? I mean, obviously, why not? But Why did you decide that? And what have been your kind of learnings around being a digital nomad, running a business from Vietnam?
So first, I can tell you a little bit background because I wake up when I was 21 or 22 years. I was like, oh, I think I'm born in the wrong country, just from a dream. Like, there's something wrong. I should not be born in Norway. So after that, since I was 22, I was going to like, hey, maybe I'm born in the wrong country. And it took like, I turned, or right before I turned 40, I decided to do something with it. Vietnam was more like an accident because summer 2017 we start to kite surf, me and my girlfriend, and we want to bring with her 2 kids because she had 2 kids from a relationship before, to a place in the world who should not be Europe, and kite surf. And then we figure out, like in south of Vietnam, there was a kite surfing place where we can go in the summer. And so that was the first meeting with Vietnam. And why digital nomad? So but that, since I was young, I never done my best deals. I never done my best performance in work inside office. I've been sitting on a coffee bar. I've been on a ride. I've been doing something every time. I could be in a cabin. I could be on an airport. I can travel, whatever. But if you look at the biggest deal, the best sales thing, everything I've done is like when I've been outside and doing something. So I never in my life, long before COVID and all this thing with remote work and all this thing, I never enjoyed to be in office. That's also one of my problems as running the company. I totally like I hated to go into my own office because I didn't like this concept of being in office. So I have always been like that. So when we went, so the company that went bankrupt in 2015, I think about what should I do with life, and I was thinking, okay, is there a way that we can really move to another country and just test it out? And I started to think about, can I run an online business or can I sell something online? So I've been a sales trainer. So what I started with when we started the online thing was teaching people sales, because I've been a salesman all life. And when I started with that, the first thing people start to ask me, how did you do this? How did you create an online course? How did you do this with the digital platform? How did you? So before I succeeded with creating an online course and having a business with that, they start to ask me how I did it. So that was what we are doing now. We are teaching and also selling services and how to build a funnel. And so we are like a consultant, but also having the programs behind it. So yeah, and that's how it started. And yeah, and I love this life much better. We have a team all over the world now. I don't need to go to office to like make sure the staff is doing their things. They're sitting home or on a beach or whatever, or in the cabin or whatever. We don't care. But so yeah, that was short or long why I am a digital nomad.
So then, so you mentioned that in sort of 2015, this business, became bankrupt. You covered a little bit about, I think, or intimated some of the reasons as to why. But what learnings can you share, for the listeners around that, and and also like how, an entrepreneur can rebound from, becoming bankrupt to then turning it around and building a seven-figure business, which you have done.
Yeah, so I will start with, I didn't ask for help when things didn't work out, and there was many around me who want to help me, and they asked me, "Hey, Petter Erik, do you want some help? You know?" And this was people who really want me, and it was this was entrepreneur who had 7, 8, or 9-figure businesses, and they just saw that we had a potential and like what we was doing, so they wanted to help us. But I was my ego come in waves, so I didn't want to show them how it looks like inside the company, because we didn't make money. It was like was making money. So maybe we made money 3 months and then we lost for the rest of the year. So that was kind of how it went. So I think like asking for help, and that was also something I started with when I started up the new business. I didn't only ask for help. I got some mentors I paid, and I think that's one of the best investment I done. It's also back to, because I knew I should not be managing people. Like now I have a COO who are running the company. Like you talked about the integrator visionary. So I have an integrator now, and I'm more in the visionary role. And that was when we come to that place. I did this when it's like, no, I'm combining the question with some other thing. But I did this when I come to around, when I see that we are near 1 million euro mark again, I said to Maria, we need a integrator now. We need to find that person, whatever it's. And this was just before COVID, or with COVID hit. So we was like, what will happen with our business? So it was a big investment to get in a CEO on that point. So that's so kind of the learnings. And also I had another mindset also with people. So I remember I was reading this book with I don't know if you read it, but Darren Hardy has a book about entrepreneurship, but he have a chapter about A players. And he's like, you should not always hire A players. I mean, back in time when I had this company and I was running it, and I like, an A player, they need a lot of money, will be make the invest, but it will be a good investment. But I was like, yeah, but I don't have this money. I don't have this 70,000 or 80,000 euro to hire an A player. So I need to go to someone who was not A player. So what I went to the unemployed center in Norway, where we could get like 6 months or 12 months for free. People can work for free for us. And I was like, wow, I'm saving money. It's free. It's like, it's super cool. So we had an accountant, we had also some marketing people, we had but the thing is, like, even I'm not a good manager, but they needed so much training. So I didn't see the picture of my value in the company, what I can bring when I'm doing what I'm best to, will bring in a lot of money. So I used that time, maybe 3, 6, 9 months, even if they was free. So that cost me much more than it will really cost to get some A players. So also having this mindset, and that something I'm still working with my cell phone, and also my team always look for A players. Use a long time when they're hiring. Yeah, another thing we did, we was always hiring for a problem we had. So like, oh, today we can't handle the clients. We need a new person today. So we just like solve problems just today with finding instead of being strategic. This is also kind of US system that you're strategic, where they won't be in 3 or 6 or 9 or 12 months time. And it's also one of the hardest things that we are hitting now, because we are growing so fast, that we are hiring people we think are A player now, but we need to hire people who are A players in 1 year time or 2 years time. And that's also something. So it's always a journey. We are on it now. But I think, also maybe should I given up before? Or I also had a wrong partner. That was a thing I like. It's okay, my partner now is my girlfriend, but she started before we get a couple. She started to work for me in one of my old companies. So we knew we could work together. But I also had a partner, and I have 2, 3 businesses that had been running better if I didn't have partner. Or so also bringing in a partner, if you're not 100% sure it's someone you have worked with before, that are like, can help you with things, and they have sharing the same vision, and also had some tough talks with. I think that's also one of the mistakes with it. So today I'm still have a partner with my girlfriend, but I know we can work together, and I will never bring in another one before I work 3 or 4 years. I'm up to giving people shares and staff shares, but they should definitely know that they're following the culture and our vision and all these things. Yeah.
So some great learnings there, and I don't like. We hadn't obviously sort of discussed this before, so this is not a segue or a planned kind of plug, but you know, something that I've learned through. I mean, I've been doing 7 years of podcasts, and running SaaStock for 6.5 years. So spoken to many entrepreneurs like yourself, well, probably hundreds, if not quite thousands. But with that, what I've learned is that the most successful CEOs, they don't try and figure it out all themselves. They do try and kind of ditch their egos, and they look for support, and they build support networks. And so what we're trying to build with the SaaStock founder membership is the best support network for B2B SaaS founders kind of globally. So people don't have to go it alone on their journey, and you can get access to other founders that might be at a similar stage or 1 or 2 kind of steps ahead. So we're currently building that, and hopefully, and what we're seeing actually, it's good feedback. It is being kind of very, very helpful for SaaS founders. And then I think the other thing that you said about the A players and this kind of mistake, you're trying to save money and thinking you're saving money by hiring, I don't know, maybe C players or B or C players. But actually, the reality is that, or the importance of A players. And whilst they do often, may look a little bit kind of expensive, I read something recently which basically kind of just backs up what you said. But I think it was and I can't remember which book, but if you think professionals are expensive, wait until you hire amateurs. And I thought that was quite a good, kind of soundbite, and kind of, backs up that the importance of around getting hiring right, and especially, the how expensive mistakes, can be in hiring, more so than, having to pay that extra 10 grand for that salesperson when you look at it and they're outside a budget and you're not sure if you can stretch. But, making the mistakes and going for the cheaper option can often, be much more expensive for a business. Sure. So you've bounced back. You've built this 7-figure business in 3 years, which is fantastic. And I think you've mentioned some of the things that have probably helped you get to 7 figures, and like perhaps sort of one of these things that certainly your experience, and I guess maybe like moving, bringing in a COO and playing to your strengths. And although I think the COO is coming in at when you've got to 7 figures. So can you tell us a little bit, maybe sort of 3 to 5 kind of points in how you've built this 7-figure business? And I think you mentioned that webinars was also, something strategic that's kind of really helped you. But yeah, let's get some kind of the learnings in how you've done that.
Yeah, it's kind of a flip side of what I talked about, but at least asking for help. We got when we run the company for the first year, we got a mentor, a world famous marketer that we had for a mentor for a time. It was expensive. It was really expensive for us, almost the same like we get in salary we need to pay him. But at the same time, we already there fixed up in some wrong roads we was on way in that we didn't see by ourselves. So also spending money on mentorship. You talked about EOS. I had a EOS consultant working for us for 2 years. When you know about the EOS or the Traction, I also think you know about Dan Sullivan. So I'm in a mastermind group with Dan Sullivan. I have a lot of network around me with world-class entrepreneurs that can help me, and I can always ask questions about what kind of problems I am, because it's like the bigger the business become, the bigger is the problem. So you're always facing a new phase. Right now, I'm facing a thing like clients start to complain about our services, and that's like, oh, that's the worst thing I can get. It's like I like sales, but it's worse to get a unhappy client and really get not get a sale. So it's like, so it's always to get help when you come to this, because now we have delivery problem, because we are out from the programs. We are not helping clients much more because Maria and me, we are doing other stuff. So I think like help is a one thing, and also using a system like EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, and building on this Traction. And Traction is an amazing book. I read it many times, but I think it's one of the. So yeah, I want to tell this because it's a great story. So we was on a flight to Bali, Maria and me, my girlfriend, and in the old companies we had, she was trying to be the integrator and I was the visionary. That was like and I had this feeling many times like, oh, Maria, it's not you. And we also in our relationship, and I can be tough. If I want something, I want to get it. And she didn't get me this feedback back or try to say this is not a good idea. She's like, oh yeah, let's do it. So she was always so positive. So it was when she read Rocket Fuel on the way from Vietnam to Bali and was going to a relationship retreat or something. She just said to me, Petter Erik, I know it now. I can't be the integrator. It's not me. It doesn't fit me at all. So, and that was in December, and it was in March we hired at the integrator or the CEO. So I also think like her and me being more, reading more entrepreneurship, being more like finding out what the next step is, and always trying to be one step ahead. We also, one of our values is one step ahead. So seeing, when you're building, don't see it, but also, and also understand and be. So don't have this. I talk about this ego. I like this world with ego, because what I have done until now will not get me up to 8 figures. There is something new I need to learn. And if I'm not willing to change the business model, change what I do, listening to others. One of my mentors Todd Brown. I asked him a question again. I don't know if you know who it is, but he's a American marketer. And I asked him a question again. What is the difference with the 8-figure business owner and 9 figures? And he said 9-figure business owners, if someone tell them like this is working, this is great, this is a new path, this is thing, even if they feel in the stomach that this is not right for them, they do it anyway. They're willing to test it. They're willing to let the beliefs they had before go to just test it out. So I also think like I was a little bit before maybe thinking like, oh, it works now. Why should we not continue with it? I think like the entrepreneur journey, going from 100,000 euro to 10 to 1 million is another mindset. Going from 1 million to 1.5 is another mindset. 1.5 to 3 is another mindset. Going from 3 to 10 is another mindset. So also being willing to be coachable and listening to others and being willing to change out things and not being so that's part of what I think it's helped me and also will help a lot of entrepreneurs.
Well, again, some great learnings and lessons there. Ones I totally agree with. And in terms of you and your journey, being a CEO and obviously kind of shifting into that kind of visionary role, what would be you've given a lot of lessons there. What would be maybe like the number one sort of lesson that you've learned, over this time?
Number one lesson is also about I should set myself first in a company. So if there's things I don't want to do, I should give it away. If there are things I'm not good at, find someone to doing it. It's like and I still are struggling with this sometimes. I'm giving some of my employees assistant before myself, or get someone to do it before myself. But I think like, and this is, I don't know if it's interaction, but whatever I heard it was someone saying, you like an entrepreneur should be the first one just doing what you love to do. And that's also changed the thing because there is a lot of things that I did before I don't like to do. And also this mindset, there is people out there who love to do what I hate to do. And sometimes it's like I'm asking like, hey, can you do this for me? I know it's boring. And someone else like, I love it. But it's like, and let people love to do things that you hate to do. We are different and we are different personalities. And so I think that's so one of the learning. And also using longer time to hire people. Don't just hire people. So I like this quote. I don't remember who said it, but it's something like hire slow, fire fast. I also been much better with that. Sometimes I had people working for me for 1 year, and I knew it for 1 year before. Like, there's something wrong, there's something not working out. But now I'm more like, okay, when I get this feeling, get them out. Still, I can do it faster, but it's not 1 year. It's maybe 3 months now. So it's all about feeling when something is not working, even if it's someone who are producing, could be salespeople. I had great salespeople that I knew was not right for a company, but again, it's like, oh, they're selling so good, so you don't want to get them out, but they can destroy a culture. They can destroy so much thing. So yeah, faster decision, being more hard with and following my own vision. Like, don't think about other people, because the right people will come to you with the right time when you just know where you want to go and have a vision and following it.
Great advice there, and I think a great way to kind of end the show. And so, finally, where can people find you online if they want to reach out and talk with you? And also, where can they find AweSM Sales?
Yeah, so we can find us on awesome.com. So it's awasm.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook, Petter Erik Nyvoll, Nivoll, and Petter with double T and Eric with K. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook. You can find me on the page, and yeah.
Great stuff. Well, Petter Erik, it's been great having you on the SaaS Revolution show. Thanks so much for joining us from Vietnam, sharing these great lessons and learnings from your career and your current business. And congrats on what you're doing and growing with AweSM Sales and Marketing. And hopefully soon, or you'll come back when you get to 8 figures, and then maybe again at 9 figures, and we can compare the podcast and the learning. So I'm sure you'll do it. But so thanks so much, Petter Erik Nyvoll, for being a great guest on the show today.
Thank you. And I hope it was valuable. It was really fun. So thank you for having me.